everyone, this is Duncan from the Metal Epidemic. I'm here with Kate from Pupil Slicer, who have just come off stage in Glasgow. How was the set?
It was pretty good.
Yeah.
It's hot. They're always hot.
Yeah.
You know that everyone always you got to tell yourself not to complain if you're an artist, because I'm like, oh, I could go into all the technical issues. My guitar was playing up at this point, and like the click went out at this point, and I'm like, oh no. But yeah, I think most people are just like, yeah, it was sick.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. We were standing at the back. We were loving it because we're old now and we can't get into pits or anything like that. But so Blossom came out. It's about 5 months now, which that in itself just goes to show how quick this year's went in. But the kind of the runtime between Mirrors and Blossom is relatively short, and like you're quite active on social media. And I remember seeing you like actually tracking stuff relatively quick after Mirrors came out. Was that kind of a conscious effort because you had just so much stuff lying around to write, or was there a kind of process of, well, we've just come out of COVID, so let's just keep this thing going?
It was a weird one because to me it was a really slow process. That album Blossom took like 3 years to write.
Mm-hmm.
It's just when we finished Mirrors, it took us like a year to record that album.
Yeah.
And that whole time I was writing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was another year to like get a label, and then it was like, I think it was like 18 months after the Masters or something, the album came out or something, like, because it took us a while to just get things together. I added a year onto that figure. I think it was like 8 months.
Yeah.
But it was a long time we were sitting on that. So then we had that amount of time working on new material.
Mm-hmm.
And then there was, after the album came out, there's then another 2-year gap. It's been in the works for like quite a while, Blossom. You say it's gone fast this year. For me, it feels like Blossom's been out for years because of the process that went into it. I mean, we recorded it last October, and that feels like decades ago at this point, just because so much happened in that year, like filming music videos, getting all the art done, like doing photo shoots, all this the boring behind the scenes stuff, like setting up like banners for your social media, and like making the booklet for the CD separate to the booklet for the vinyl, and picking vinyl colours, and like that seems like a fun idea, picking a vinyl colour. But after you've done like 5 of them, you've sort of run out of like, what's the cool colour? Yeah. It's
you almost kind of create a rod for your own back by kind of being as artistic and creative in that process. You kind of set up an expectation of yourself to try and better that each time.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a long process getting the album out, so I'm really happy it's out, and it seems to have been received really well. Yeah,
we loved it. I think it's absolutely phenomenal. I mean, we were big fans of Mirrors when it dropped, and we were already kind of very excited about, especially in the last couple of years, I think the British music scene just in general just seems to have like steroid injected itself. Like every specific subgenre of metal just seems to be putting out some of the best material. And what I found kind of really riveting about what you specifically did with Blossom was we started to get, I think, a little bit more of a peek into the personality of the band. Like you really started reaching for lots of different ideas, and like the influences span decades in that one. When you come to approach something like that, and you were saying it takes quite a lot of time to kind of pull all that together, once it's out, is that a case of, right, that's that chapter of that book closed now and we're going to see where the next one goes, or organically are you already starting to piece together what might be essentially the next evolution of the band?
I think we approach it very like, we make the music we want to make. I think on Mirrors there were definitely sort of, we didn't know what, we had no idea what we were doing with Mirrors. We were just playing for like local crowds for ourselves. We still play for ourselves, like there's no point making the music if you don't like it. But on that first album it was definitely sort of, we know people, I've figured out I could rip off Converge and Dillinger pretty well. Like some stuff that was like, this is pretty cool as well. And then we put like the post-black metal song at the end of it being like, we also like this stuff. And we almost didn't put that on the album because we weren't sure if like, or people think it weird, and I'm like, I'm Sorry, I'm struggling to speak.
No, you just finished.
I need to be. I'm talking fast.
Yeah.
We almost didn't put that on the end of the album because we were like not sure about it, and then we were like, Converge always puts post-rock songs and stuff.
Yeah, of course.
So I was like, why not? We'll do it as a treat. And then loads of people really like that. But something I noticed a lot of people said was, I really like the parts where they don't sound like they're trying to sound like someone else.
Right.
Which gave me a lot of confidence, a lot more with my songwriting, because I'm like, if it doesn't sound like a band, if I'll write something and be like, this is cool, but I've got nothing to compare it to, and if I can't compare it to something, it's hard to judge if I still think it's cool. Whereas if I'm like, oh, this sounds like this thing by Pig Destroyer, but different enough that it's cool, that's easier to be confident in it, rather than being like, I can't put a name on what this sounds like. I'm not sure. I like it, but I don't know if anyone else will. But we sort of moved more into that territory with Blossom. Being like, let's just use the riffs. If I think they're good, people seem to think that the things I write.
Even vocally, I think like your confidence on your melodies are just like
I didn't want to do any cleans on the first album because I was like, I'm worried about it. But,
no, I think it's one of those things as well where it's not a necessity, but when used like right in the way you're using it, I think it just opens up your sound completely. Also makes the heavier bits so much more fucking heavy, like when they land in. So I thought it was brilliant. Like you say, it's been very well received. But you were already kind of charting that ground anyway. Like you did stuff in Knotfest, pretty quick after Mirrors, which I think is like a testament to like the tendency on some of these festivals at times is they're hitching their wagon to whatever like a Kerrang or a Metal Hammer are kind of pointing to, and the fact that the like singled you guys out, brought you in very quickly, something at that time maybe not necessarily commercially friendly. How much of a kind of confidence boost is that as a musician to be kind of acknowledged relatively early on as well on something as grand as like a Knotfest, for example?
I mean, we didn't really have press before Mirrors came out, so it certainly was a like interesting experience to be like, and the bar kept being raised because it was like, oh, Brooklyn Vegan have done this, that's really cool, that's like a site that I've seen with headlines for other bands. Like we were the stratosphere for Mirrors when we wrote it and when it came out was, we might get a Heavy Blog is Heavy review, because I like those guys. They review stuff, and I was like, that's like, I felt like that was attainable for like underground. I'd be like, we've made the big time if we do that. And then it was like Brooklyn Vegan, and I think one of the really early ones was like Revolver, and I was like, that's like a quarterly US print magazine. That's crazy, and we hadn't even like done like new press photos and stuff, and they used photos from a gig of us pre-pandemic before Mirrors came out. And I'm like, I've never thought those photos would end up in like a print. Like, it was just like insane. And it's sort of like, not to be take it for granted, but you do sort of like get numb to it because it's just like, I don't know what else is gonna happen. It's hard to like, sort of just been like cruising on that wave since then with stuff.
Tours as well, I think, like, because
the tours have been crazy.
I was about to say, like, you because your sound is so, it's not unique, but because it kind of, it fits really well with a lot. Like, you don't play with a band that sounds like you, but actually you fit in really well on a lot of tours because of that. Do you find that that's, like, in terms of the tour that you're on just now is with Employed to Serve, you're on a bill which contains really a kind of traditional hardcore band opening, yourselves, and then Employed to Serve as the headline, but to me there's organic parts that kind of link that with the way that you play your music anyway. There's elements of hardcore in there anyway, and there's elements of stuff that transcends into Employed to Serve. So like doing like a Knotfest which has like a variety of different bands and being kind of like a standout because you're so kind of different sounding against that, do you get a lot of tour offers based on the fact of, you're just gonna, you'll fit in because there's an element of your sound that kind of gravitates to it?
I don't know why we get the pro offers. I'm not the one making the offer. But it's definitely been, I think, an advantage having a sound that's less, especially with the second album, that's like less pigeonholed into one thing. Because like Rolo Tomasi was the first big tour we got, and that was insane because Roller's Mass is like one of Josh's favourite band, our drummer, and his like end goal for the band was be playing with Rolo.
Right.
And then that was the first tour we did. So yeah, and then my end goal was like play Arc Tangent, and then the first year we were touring we played Arc Tangent, and then we played it again this year. So we have to keep moving the goalposts on that, but it's interesting the offers you get. Like we've had some really cool offers that are like we'd never have expected. Like apparently one of the guys in Crowbar asked for us to do something and we couldn't do it, but
that's cool.
That's like cool. That's not a band that like I know I'd think would be listening to us, but really cool. And then Boris as well. They were like this band, and I'm like, how's Boris listening? Like one of the first gigs me and Josh ever went to together was Boris in like 2015, 2016, and then we got to tour with them. And that was a really interesting like lineup, and it was just us and them. It was no one else, so just hanging out with them every day. Then Employed to Serve has like been one of the bucket list ones for me because like they really influential my playing and my style of songwriting. Since I've seen them like 20 times or something, since like 2015, 2016. Like when I got into music, they were one of the first bands. Like heavy bands that I was like, yeah, this is sick. And it's definitely you know what I'm saying. I've got to set the heights, the sights higher.
You have to keep still. But that's.
I mean, my end goal at the moment is like Prodigy or Nine Inch Nails. It'd be really cool.
I think
I'd hope that one day.
I think that as well as you. And like they're not small goals you're setting yourselves either. If you are achieving them, I think once again that's testament to what it is you're doing and how it's resonating.
I mean, one of the things that probably opened our eyes the most to like setting the goals is like we achieved the like Rolo tour, we did Arc Tangent, we played with End, which was sick because I was really into End, and then it was like, do you want to play with End? And I was like, yes. Like get to play with Will Putney, and then Godflesh asked for us, and I was like, well, what? Okay. And then one of the things was Health announced a tour last November, and I was like, should I just message them on Twitter and ask to do it? And everyone was like, why not, it'll be funny. They're not going to respond. So I did, and then they offered us the tour, and then we were like, we didn't check if we could do like clear that with work or anything like that, if it fits our schedules. We were like, we should message them and be like, what's the worst that could happen? They offered the tour and we couldn't do it. We haven't like done a tour with Health yet, but that was like one of the things of like, oh, we might be able to like just
in the future
message people and like see what happens. Like Code Orange follow us on, like Danny Brown followed us the other day. I'm like, I'd love to play with him, that'd be sick. Like
what about in terms of kind of moving up into the position of, so you're doing like a lot of supports, but to be honest, like I like just having listened to your set, you're like that kind of headline status yourself. Is there a move currently to go out and do, even if it is like a kind of smaller tour again, back up the UK or maybe even to Europe in support of Blossom?
Yeah, we'd love to do a Blossom tour. I think we're really proud of what we did with the album. It'd be really cool to explore that and like do a themed set and like fully commit to like maybe playing the album in full. I don't know if we could do that because some of the songs are really hard. Which is why we don't play all of them live. Definitely next year hopefully we'll get something together, headline set, because you know it's fun playing short sets, but on the Boris tour there were some nights we got to do like 45 minutes and it is really fun getting to have a full range of things in your set. You've got to be very picky with what you're putting in the set, and I mean at the moment on this ETS tour we're playing 4 songs which is like, there's not a lot of like we tried to like keep it really diverse. We've got like the 8-minute post black metal epic, we've got like the pop song, we've got the Rager with no tempo, and then like Departure in Solitude is like a bit of everything, a bit of hardcore, a bit more hardcore I guess. But that was like all we could fit in this set, so it's like Yeah, it's hard because and there's a lot of learning on the road. Like we used to play sets that were like, if we had 30 minutes, we'd play a 28-minute set and be like, that's fine, that's 2 minutes for breaks.
Yeah.
And then you can't be relaxed doing that because if you start 30 seconds late, you're like, fuck, that's a break
it,
one. And if you're on a break and like you drop something, you're like, that's 15 seconds that like, are we gonna have to cut a song now? And then like during the set, you have to be like, which song we cutting this one? And it's just not worth it. So now it's like at least 5 minutes spare in the set.
Well done.
For this set, we're doing like a 22-minute set, and it's 25 minutes with the interludes, which are meant to be breaks for us. Which means we've got 5 minutes of, we can start up to 5 minutes late. If something's going wrong setting up, we're all good. And if not, the bands are always happy. Like ETS will be happy we're off early. Yeah. Going off are doing the same thing. They're always off like at least 5 minutes early for us, which means our 15-minute changeover becomes a 20-minute changeover. Everyone's happy.
It's one of those things you don't think about as well. Like you never think about it. Like you just see like a band go up there and play, and they play for as long as they're going to play, and then they're off. And so like you never think about the idea of actually if your songs are like 5-6 minutes in length, and there is an issue, that song potentially might not actually happen in the set. Yeah. So, you were talking earlier on about the kind of creative aspect of being involved with specific things like vinyl, and like I love the kind of effort that goes into something like that. In terms of like beyond that as well, in terms of like artwork choices and like how things shape together, release schedules and whatnot. Like you guys are really involved in that entire process, which I think is kind of excellent. Sometimes bands will sit. Well, this is it. Like sometimes bands sit back on that and they'll get like 10 different bits of artwork or whatever and go, yeah, that's probably the best one or whatnot. But is that something that is you piecing that together when you're writing the song of kind of imagery, colours, like all those sorts of levels in that whilst recording, or is it kind of like right, it's now finished, I can sit back, look at it as if it was a painted picture and start to pick those elements out?
It depends on the song and how it comes together. Like a lot of times I will have a concept for a song. Like the lyrics usually come after I've written the song. There's been like very few cases where it's been like I've got this idea and then I'll turn that into a riff or something. But once I've got the lyrics for the song, it like, at least on Blossom, I tried to tell such like in my head it's like a movie with like I know what's happening in it, and at different points that made it a lot easier with piecing together. I mean, in some ways it made my life harder because I was way more specific. Yeah. And like have to get everything to fit around that. Like especially with doing a extremely science fiction album and then trying to shoot music videos for it with no budget. We had to the music videos are like companion pieces to the album but not what the song's about, because it would be impossible to like do those kinds of things. But I think they came out really well in the end. So yeah, that sort of process happens usually it's quite early on in like the lyrical concept, and then I start forming an image of the song. It was funny you said about like colours and stuff, because I do like, for some reason it's like maybe a form of like synesthesia. Some people have like, for me certain songs are like certain colours. We that's literally what we talk about when we're like you listen to a particular album and like that. It's like it's oppressive and it's grey and it's like that, and then there's other ones where I'm like that I get purple and I don't know why I get purple, but so I do that with our lighting for live. I make sure the lights for the songs match, because I couldn't have like what would be like a song like Blossom couldn't be a green song. That's just not right. That's not the colour for it. Song Creation's Ends probably couldn't be green either. For me, like the post black metal songs are like maroon, dark brown, yellow, white, and then like the short like Dillinger ones are all white. It's probably like subconsciously informed by like what bands I've seen as well. So like Cult of Luna's like probably informs into like, if I write something like that, that's what's in your head. And if it's something like Dillinger, I just imagine seeing loads of strobes in front of me, so it has to be white.
In terms of the rest of the year, so we're now almost in November, which once again is quite scary, but you've got, what, 10 dates left on this tour. What's next for you guys? Is there anything else before the end of the year?
We've not got anything planned for this year, so it's all looking at next year at the moment.
Yeah.
We're looking at tours and stuff, figure it out, hopefully get a headline together. Be cool to like do proper Blossom set, and then and also we've not done our headline, like, so it'd be really interesting to see what, like, I've got no idea how many tickets we sell, not one clue. So it's like I don't know, it's really hard, like, still at this point to be like, do we have fans? I don't know, like, we sometimes sell albums when an album comes out, but then most of the time no one buys anything. But then if we play certain shows, loads of people buy merch.
Yeah.
But then if we play somewhere else, no one buys merch, even if we played better than we played at that place. So I'm like, are people just buying stuff because it's there? Or do people like us? Or are they a fan who's come to see us? Like, you can't talk to everyone.
We got a chance to interview Tristan from Author and Punisher earlier this year.
Sick.
He was out with Tool, so he toured with Tool, right? Which, like, in itself is amazing. And he'd basically been like that. He'd been looking at it from a t-shirt point of view. He's like that. There's like 10,000 people at this gig. If I sell X amount of t-shirts, this is like a huge amount of money. And then he was saying that he was getting there, and he was like maybe 2-3 t-shirts selling, because like some venues where he's like that, oh well, this is kind of almost home territory, so we sell really, really well. But then in other ones, inexplicably, a lot of stuff would shift, and he couldn't work out why. So it's like a mad science somewhere to it, surely.
So I know for a certainty there's no correlation between playing well and how much merch you sell. Because we've had shows where everything's gone wrong, things have gone out of sync, and nothing sold. And we've had songs where we've nailed everything and no one bought a thing, so it's hard. Like, we try and make every show one where we nail everything, and we're like moving towards that. We've been like definitely drilling a lot over this year to try and improve as a band, but it's hard to know. What, like, merch is really weird. So I don't know. Then we've got fan counters on like social media, but like other people who like something on social media, someone who goes to a show. How much they listen to you? Do they like one song? Do they really listen? Like, I don't know. I have this urge to be like, do we have fans? Are they real fans? Do they really like the album? I don't believe them. How many times do they listen to it? There's no way to know that. So I might as well give up now.
No, never go. So like looking at tours next year and stuff like that as well. Possibility some festivals as well, because you're always seeing you play.
We're going to do some festivals. We're going to try and take it a bit easier on the festivals next summer, just because I want some time to like try and work on stuff. Writing, but
excellent.
Yeah.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure chatting to you. We love the set. Blossom's an incredible album. It's available via Prosthetic Records at the moment. It came out in June. I imagine I don't need to sell it because I got great reviews, but we'll do it anyway.
Is that good?
Yeah, I thought it was really. I think memory serves, I gave it a 5 out of 5. So, and I've been saying it's like my favourite British metal album this year. I think you guys really just fucking nailed it. So yeah, thank you very much for your time, especially after playing a set, which is the worst time to speak to anyone. But yeah, I wish you all the success on the road, and I look forward to catching you next time.
Thank you.